When we lead with love, we carry it 24/7. And when we teach with love, we make sure our students don't forget it. To be black and to educate is to be superhero without the applause. It's to show up and show out no matter the cause. It's to play for the students no matter the winner. Because when we work arm in arm, the impact is bigger. Welcome to Untenured Podcast, where educators have a space to speak their truth. So tap in and listen to the very voices that mold our youth.
So blessings, YouTube community, and thank you for joining us for our 4th episode in season 2 of our Untenured Pod. I bet you thought you caught us slipping, but rest is a form of resistance. And as you know, the motto here in our house, speaking your truth can never go left because it's your right. And we are too hyped to pass the virtual mic back from the East Coast to the West, more specifically from New York to Colorado, from being unabridged with McGee the AP to another dope melanated queen with her own pod that she hosts and produces called The Exit Interview, a pod for Black educators, where she highlights and explores why Black folk leave the profession with an ultimate goal of informing districts, unions, and families on how they can better support and retain Black professionals in education. She's a conscious consultant for the culture that drinks water. She stays hydrated, y'all.
Yeah.
She's a welder of wellness initiatives that rocks with royalty. She eats her fiber, y'all. And she is an award-winning potter and adjunct at the University of Colorado Denver School of Education and Human Development, founder of the Liberated Educators Lab, co-founder of the Black Educator Wellness Cohort, providing free monthly wellness sessions in the greater Denver area. And most recently, because we stalk her on IG, co-founded the Melanated Book Exchange, a collaborative community initiative creating a sacred space for the exchange of book stories and wisdom. And if you can keep up with her robust resume, you would know that that's about 6-7 things that she's got going on. So it can't even fit in the banner underneath this. And so she's here with us today to help us get back into the untenured pod swing of things and show us another reason why multi-hyphenates are a vibe. YouTube community, here we go. Help me welcome Dr. Asian Lyons.
Hi,
Dr.
everybody.
Lyons.
That was an intro. Let's go.
I try to do my people right. If I do nothing else, I'm going to introduce you.
I appreciate that.
And there we go. And so tell us, why did you choose Unmuted? Every single guest gets to pick an unword to title their conscious convo for the culture. Tell us why you chose Unmuted.
I chose Unmuted because our voices should not and cannot be silenced, right? We have to unmute ourselves. We have to be able to continue to speak up. The work that I do is to support people in unmuting themselves, to be liberated, to be free. I know that my podcast, The Exit Interview, does that. And I just want to continue to do that work of helping people re-find their voice. Because we've always had it. It's not lost. It's just like, where did we place it? Sometime at the sacrifice of work. So that's why I picked Unmuted.
Well, sis, feel free to mute me because sometimes I overtalk. But here at Sadie's, we love first. And so we want to honor and welcome you as the first Black female potter on our platform. And more importantly, say congratulations on winning the Best Education Podcast of 2025 from the Black Podcasting Awards. How did you know you wanted to use a pod to give voice to the people? How did you know?
That's a good question. So I was an educator in the traditional education space for 12 years. And I started teaching social justice classes to my 6th graders in 2016. And everything was going well until Trump was elected, and went back the next year to teach social justice classes like I had been doing. And a lot of like all the animosity and all the racism was like bubbling up. And ultimately I ended up being pushed out of education by the families who had a lot of power in our district, and from my principal and her boss, who decided that they would side with the white families versus siding with something that they approved. And I left teaching, like I said, in 2018. Before I left, I demanded from my superintendent an exit interview. They don't give them in that district now. They never have, and definitely not with the superintendent. But after several emails, he finally said yes. And going back to my car, I thought, there's so many of us who leave education and never share our story. even if an exit interview was offered to us, we might say like, oh, they're not going to listen to me anyway, or we like half tell our story or whatever. And so that's how the podcast started. It was for all those folks who just never had a chance to say like, this is why I chose to leave. And it wasn't because of money or because whatever. It was, this is my story. So that's how it started.
And I love that you're creating a platform and holding space for the sharing of those stories, because here on Untenured, although it's not necessarily connected to an exit interview, the premise for our platform is there's this misconception that tenure is this layer of safety that you get.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you from firsthand experience, tenure don't save you from nothing if you're really about this work and creating revolution and disrupting deficit narratives. So there's no safety in being 10 toes down for what we're talking about. So cool for you to give context to the platform and your why. And when I think about, one of the things you do on your IG, you have Black Teacher Diaries, where you present these thoughtful questions that hit the core. And the most recent one I saw that I wanted to vibe in connected to your story today is, in all seriousness, like keep it 100. How do we make sure our Black educators thrive?
Yeah.
Now, I know that's a loaded question, but what would you say if you had to put it in a word, a phrase, or in a Twitter in like 120 characters or less? What would you say?
It's going to have to be community. Districts, higher education, they're not going to do that for us. When I'm talking and I'm asking that question about in all seriousness, how do we make sure that Black educators thrive? I'm talking to our communities. Yes. I am not talking to principals and administrators who cause harm. I'm not asking the education system to do anything. I'm talking to people's parents and grandparents, their children, their pastors, whomever. What are we going to do to support them? Because they're going into the battlefield every single day, and we have to support them in some way. So that's the question, is to them more than it is to anyone else.
And not for nothing, in my own lived experience, because it's not about me, but just to show you that this is bigger than just empathy. It's like a real connection point from across state lines, right? The community has more power than sometimes they know. And it's
100%.
The leaders and the boards that fold to the community, right? And so if the community can really understand what it takes, we have a larger chance of not only recruiting, but retaining Black folks. Super, 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 super cool. All right. So it also brings up this notion of like two things can coexist. And one of the things we do on our platform is like, you can be a bookworm and a hip hop head, right?
Yeah.
You can be a bookworm and bust a wobble at an event, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that I saw on your page that came from a recent guest, Candace Renee Person, in her convo, was that the two things that coexist about grief and liberation in terms of the system. You want to comment in and chime in on that? Because I saw you even say, and I'm going to give you a direct quote. What good is it to have Black educators in your schools to diversify to your teaching staff if they have been harmed by the systems they support? So what are some other things that coexist to you as you think about the exit from the system, that grief, that liberation, and the paradox of the two?
I think that to exit something and to birth into something else can also coexist, right? Because as you're exiting, you're being birthed out.
Come on,
right?
Tell it. So just, you know what you're sparking to me, like that idea that who said the quote? I'll look it up later and put in the footnotes. Like what they think they're burying, they're actually planting.
Yeah, like they thought that they were burying us, but it turns out that we were seeds.
Come on. Yes. All right. Beautiful. And so even when I think about a lot of, that coexisting in that paradox, I saw that you recommended a book, and it's in my bookshop.org card, because we're not supporting Amazon, right, y'all?
Right.
We're
yes.
Our local Black indie bookstores. And you recently made a book recommendation to the community called Outwitting the Devil: The Secret to Freedom and Success. You want to tell us why? Because I'm always down for a book rec from a real one.
Yeah. So this book talks about, it's written by Napoleon Hill, which he wrote lots of books. But this one was written in like the 1930s, but it wasn't published until 2011. And it was held because his family felt like it was so against so many things that society was talking about at the time that they felt like it would bankrupt them. And so what he talks about is how education systems rob our children of critical thinking, that as parents, what we need to be doing is helping our kids to think differently. He talked about how religion, specifically Christianity, can actually makes people dumb. It makes them sheep. and that they don't think for themselves because they just follow rules. He had a lot of different points in there, again, written in 1930, that can still be applied today. And it just was amazing that in all these years, almost 100 years, we have seen no change. And
Yeah.
it's like he almost predicted what we're seeing today, that we have this anti-intellectualism. People don't want to see other people reading or critically thinking or critically questioning. And I just felt like that book was something that Napoleon Hill, I know some people think about him as like Think and Grow Rich and things like that,
Yeah.
right? But this book was written right after that book. And he wrote this book because he was saying that he had collected all of these interviews from all these wealthy people, and he had put out Think and Grow Rich, but this was like all the things that weren't said that should have been
muted himself on.
He had muted himself on that he should have said. So my husband listened to that book 3 times.
Okay.
And he loved it. And so I would recommend it to anyone to listen to it at least twice, or read it twice. Yes.
Okay. Well, shout out to bookshop.org and Libro FM, available on
Yes.
both platforms for purchase. I will be listening to it this week, and I have your DM, so I will be, as soon as I finish listening or reading, I will pull up and tell you my 2 cents. I'm very excited to get into it. And it makes me think of, even when I think about like, you know, the prophecy of a lot of our Black authors, activists, and liberationists, right? Baldwin's A Talk to Teachers, Octavia Butler's Parable of the Sower, like decades before, they prophesized like the current times and what we need as a people to really be liberated. Which makes me think about my next question, because in season 1, episode 10, we closed out in Chi-Town with a brother named Asif Wilson, and he gave us a sentence stem that we said all season 2, we're going to bring it back. We don't care who's in the untenured pod seat. So I want you to finish this sentence. If we had listened to Black women yesterday.
Oh, that's it. If we would have listened to Black women yesterday.
We had only listened to Black women yesterday. What's the rest of that sentence for you, sis?
We'd all be eating.
Oh! I'm not even going to follow up with a question, because if you don't know, you better ask somebody. We'd all be eating. And so, speaking of iconic dope women, one of the things that I reached out to you in coordinating our sit down today was, you know, one historical figure who inspires you, helps you dig into your why, and you picked Harriet Tubman. And what I love about that is connecting across episodes. We had
she's
Shauna,
right there.
She's like, oh, look, come on, Harriet. I'm gonna leave some milk and cookies out for you too.
Period. Yes.
Every year. Period.
Black History Month.
Yes. She's from Teach for the Culture. I'm sure you know Shauna. She had Harriet for the same reason, not for the same reason, but she also picked Harriet. Tell us why she's your historical figure, giving you forever inspo.
Because she freed her people, right? And I feel like my work of talking to and supporting Black educators in their wellness, in some ways, it's like, you can come on. You don't have to
get free.
You can get free, right? And so I envision myself as someone who exited. And for those who want it, say like, I can open the door and like, just come on.
For you too.
And if if nothing else, if not that you have to actually quit your job, at least be free in the mind.
Yes.
Like, what does it mean to like freedom dream? And don't let them take that too. Like, I know I need to work here until at least the end of the year, or at least 10 more years or whatever, but I can still freedom dream. I can still imagine. I can still write things down. I can still be in community. I can still uplift others. That can still be true. Right. And that's why I picked her, because before she escaped, he had to freedom dream first.
Absolutely.
She had to believe enough in herself that could happen before she put her foot to the ground, right? It had to be there. A seed was there.
I love that. And it makes me even think of, rest in peace, Assata Shakur. The only thing we have to lose is our chains, right? That's the only thing we have to lose. And to bring it back to your iconic figure, what did she say? I would have freed more if they only knew
that they were slaves.
They knew that they were slaves. Come on, Harriet. You are a forever vibe. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Beautiful segue to our first micro segment. It's our Sadie's Bookseum twist on you could get with this or that in honor of Black Sheep. So I'm going to give you 2 things, rapid fire. You can only pick one. You ready?
Yeah.
It'll go in and out of like light and having levity, and then being like, what is that? She's like,
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Would you rather teach the teachers or coach the coaches?
Coach the coaches.
Sweet potato pie or peach cobbler?
Peach cobbler.
Okay. Data tells the story or stories tell the data?
Stories tell the data.
Insecure or girlfriends?
Ooh.
I'm about to side
Girlfriends.
No, Issa Rae.
Because I didn't want. I was like in the age where girlfriends was like the first. Like it felt that living single era. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk. We'll rap about that after. Let me stay focused. All right. Self-care as resistance or community care as revolution?
Self-care as resistance has to be first.
Disrupting systems from within or building new ones from the ground up?
Ground up.
Hello, baby. Why did I even ask that? I should have skipped that one. All right. Coffee chat or community circle?
Community circle.
Go back and meet your great-great-grandparents or forward in time and meet your great-great-grandchildren?
Grandparents.
Equity audit or empathy walk?
Equity audit.
And not for nothing, her consultancy does those. So look this up. Yes, shameless plug. Okay. Wicked or The Wiz? Are we doing Cynthia Erivo, Diana Ross?
The
we won't
Wiz.
take your black card. We will not.
The Wiz. The Wiz has got to be.
Michael Jackson. You gotta stay true.
Right. You can't win.
You can't. I can't sing. I'm not gonna do it. Restorative circles or kitchen table talk?
Kitchen table talk.
Theory in action or reflection in motion?
Theory in action.
All right, here comes spicy. Spades or Uno?
Uno. Can't play spades.
Uno No Mercy or original Uno?
Original. People be making up their own rules. Let's get the book out. What's the original?
Like, stop it. The rules are always up for debate. And
I don't want to do that.
Okay, two more. Here we go. Access gap or belonging gap? Which one do we most underestimate? The access gap or the belonging gap?
Belonging gap.
And last one, the podcast mic or the classroom mic?
Podcast mic.
All right. So in the spirit of microphones, another thing we historically ask all of our guests, if you had to pick an artist whose swag matches your educational vibe, who would it be? And you're allowed to Brangelina some artists. Like if I were to go on tour and have a roaring with the Lyons, who would be hitting the mic? It'd be a little this, a little that.
It would be, let's see. It'd be Jill Scott and Black Thought.
Come on, Philly. Okay. I follow up later because I have a follow up to that. But so in that spirit, when you wake up and you're dragging, maybe the weather is doing weathering things in Denver. What's your hype song? Like you're in the car trying to get yourself pumped and ready. What is the hype song you're throwing on?
Oh man, there's so many. Let's see. Lately, it's been Egypt's remix with Doechii and Westside Gunn.
Okay, so listen, I don't know if you know YouTube community, but we have an Untenured Pod playlist, which is literally curated by asking every guest that question. So track 14, since this is episode 14, you're going to catch a vibe. And if you don't know that song, stay tuned. All right, now, this one I already know the answer to, and I low-key curated my background honoring this question.
I saw that.
One of the things we've been trying to fold into season 2 is this idea that if you really think about it, there are books that have built you, not just in terms of your identity, but in terms of your bookshelf, your home library. I think I saw you respond to our post and say that one that built you was Teaching to Transgress by Bell Hooks.
Yes.
Tell us why.
I read that book and it changed everything I understood about teaching. And it felt like the professor I never had. And it just, I just felt so much freedom and what she was talking about and so much permission to be liberatory. Yeah. And I remember reading this, and this is probably why, and I can't remember what year, but it's probably why I started teaching social justice in the first place, because of her book. And it's just, there was so many key pieces in there, so many ways that she was thinking about education and how to teach her students and her vulnerability. And I loved that book so much. And I'm even now it's on the shelf behind me.
Yes.
Just like the highlighting and all the washi tape, because it just felt so important. Yes. And it really pulled the scales off of my eyes about what we were really offering our children in education versus what we could be offering them. And so from there, it made me very, I want to use the word agitated, because I'm like, we could be doing better. We could be doing better. And no one was hearing me. And so, yeah, that book changed the trajectory of my life.
And sis, you didn't know that I was going to ask that, but is that why you wore yellow today and you have a yellow tumbler in honor of the color of teaching to transgress?
No, but that's
You're going
beautiful.
too far. We're going to
I
miss
have
that.
I have a random story.
Yeah.
Couple years no last was it this year? Last year. This year I did the podcast live at South by Southwest EDU, and I was waiting for in the green room with my guest to go up to the room that we were speaking at, and I have a bell hook sticker in the back of my laptop. So I have my laptop out, I'm getting ready, and the woman at the table with me was like, "Oh my God, I love bell hooks." She was my professor.
All the questions gone. A whole new set of questions now to talk about, right?
Yeah, she's like, and she was an amazing teacher. And she's talking. I'm like,
wow.
You know that she was a professor, but you never think that you'd meet any of her students.
Person who was in her space and was her actual student. That was amazing.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Shout out to having that experience and sharing that book that built you. Another plug to a former guest, Dr. Courtney Rose. That's one of her favorite books, and one of the reasons why she made her book Woven Together Yellow as an ode to that. So super, super cool that book that built so many of our podcasts is another common connection point we all have. All right, another sentence finisher for aspiring Black educators out there. Don't believe the hype. Well, how would you finish that sentence for a Black person that's looking to join the education field? Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. Drink your water. Take your days off and drink your water.
Take your days off. It's like you're looking at my questions, because my next one was going to be, so your 5-part series called Myths on Why You Can't Rest. And I love it because you also infuse some self-care tips. One being eat your fiber.
Yeah.
And the other one being clean your glasses, which I did right before this, right? But can you talk to us? Because like, I am literally on this journey to heal through this hustle culture mentality. And some of the myths that you talk about, like, it hit hard. And so not only can you talk to us about some of those myths and don't believe the hype, but also more importantly, like, what restores you? How do you rest?
Yeah, I take a lot of naps.
Hello.
I have creative rest, so I like to sing in the shower, sing in the car. Kind of stare. I have a window next to my desk. I stare out the window. I meditate every morning. I talk to my ancestors. I journal. I take a lot of deep breaths, just be in community with my girlfriends. I love to like sit in coffee and just talk shit. I love it.
Yeah,
so
love it all.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And so when you think about like the 5 myths, what inspired you? I mean, obviously the title is the dead giveaway. There are these myths about who can rest and when and why.
Yeah.
What birthed that? What was like that pinnacle experience or moment where you were like, I'm going on socials and I'm just giving this message to the people?
Yeah, it really was all the work in community that I do to support Black educators. You can hear the same thing over and over again. Well, I feel guilty when I take off work because then they're not going to find a sub. So, or I can't afford to rest because people think that it has to cost money.
Yes.
Right. But cleaning your glasses is free. So like, I can't afford it because I want to go on a cruise, or like, why am I resting? I haven't experienced a hardship. My parents work 2 or 3 jobs. So it's just this year after year, group after group, state after state, right? You hear the same people defending being unwell.
Yeah.
They're just, they're defending their need to be unwell. And so it was like, okay, let's just talk about the things. Yes.
Yeah, and I love that. And so we're saying, oh, hell no to that myth that you have to have a reason other than just eating the rest. But more specifically, you wanted to chime in for this next micro segment of oh, hell no, and talk about this premise or notion of teachers as superheroes. And so why are you emphatically saying, oh, hell no to teachers as superheroes?
Yeah, because superheroes, if you look at movies and television shows, superheroes don't go to therapy. They don't drink water. They don't take a rest. They just keep showing up episode after episode, sequel after sequel. And we're not superheroes. We're not superheroes without capes. We're not special. We are having a human experience. And so when we keep saying like, we're superheroes and all this rhetoric, it makes us believe that we're not allowed to be vulnerable. We're not allowed to sit down. We're not allowed to say no. We have to keep rescuing and saving and rescuing and saving. And that's not real. Yes. Superman, Spider-Man, blah, blah, blah. These aren't real people.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that. And I think that education systems need educators to believe that we're superheroes so that they can exploit us and overwork us. But as soon as we say, oh, hell no, and take our rest, that's it. But we have to do that as a collective, and we're not doing that. So if we cannot as a collective say we're taking our time back, we're snatching back rest, we'll have to do that individually.
And that's why rest is revolutionary, and not for
Yeah.
nothing. Some might be watching. We don't have a huge following yet. I'm going to manifest.
Yeah.
But, even when I thought about my cadence for recording these, and everything is always when I reach out to guests about ancestral divine, like get off of the colonial calendar.
Yeah.
Rhythm that tells you have to put out an episode every month, because when it's meant to happen, it will. And moreover, the rest gives you the opportunity to be creative and actually elevates productivity. So thank you for reminding us that we have permission to rest and say, oh, hell no to the idea. We're just humans and a human experience.
That's it.
Create human learning.
That's it.
That's it, period. All right. So then our next, personally, my favorite micro segment is called Deuces. Didn't go to Breezy Bowl, but kind of inspired by chucking up the deuces. And it's the segment where we don't just talk shop, we clean house. In the spirit of keeping it real and keeping it radical, I'm serving up 3 harmful realities in education. They're all harmful. Those policies, mindsets, or systems that have been doing way too much damage for too long. Your job, Dr. Asia, is to chuck up the deuces to the one you'd kick to the curb today if you had a magic wand. Or just some real power and policy pull. So no dodging, no both siding. We're reclaiming space, challenging norms, and naming the harm so we can finally move different. You ready?
Yes.
So let's get into it, because somebody's got to go. All right. The first one, which is every episode ask, and then I put some new ones in there. All the Black staff are only security, custodial, or cafeteria employees. All the Black staff are skin folk, but not kinfolk. Or all the Black teachers teach remedial, but never non-advanced courses.
So which one's got to go?
Which one? They're all harmful, but which one, if you could be like, I'm going to pull my doctor weight and just rip this out the system.
Say it one more time. Give me 3 more.
Yep. All the Black staff in schools are only security, custodial, or cafeteria employees. Never the principal or the teacher or the, right? All the Black staff are skin folk, but not kinfolk. You in there checking the box, but you're not really serving inspiration. Or all the Black teachers only teach the remedial courses, never the upper advanced level.
Number 2.
Ooh, skin folk, not kinfolk. That's like a universal. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's what you think. All right.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, you can say your why.
Yeah, because that's how in the part or the 1 and number 3, where I'm assuming there's we'll pray no harm is being done.
Okay.
Right. We're just like, it can't happen, but I'm just going to assume that they are still good educators. They're still good security. They're still watching out for our children. Where the number 2 scenario, a lot of harm can be done that's permanent to our children.
I love that. That's the first time we're hearing that as a why for it. But what else did I expect? You, Dr. Asia. All right. So here's the next one. Policing how our kids talk, policing how our kids act, or policing how they dress in school. Because all 3 happen. How they talk, how they act, or
how they dress.
Boom. And she said what she said. Here's the next one. Performative equity work, policies without practice, right? The myth of neutrality in curriculum and leadership, or the revolving door of initiatives with no long-term accountability.
Performative DEI.
Boom. Districts that post Black squares but ghost Black staff. I'm sorry. That one just gets me every time. Schools that love Black culture but not Black critique, or leaders who quote Dr. King but silence living activists.
Say it one more time. Give me 3 one more time.
Districts that post Black squares but ghost Black staff. Oh, I'm down for it. And then the curving, right? Schools that love Black culture, but the minute I speak out, you are not for the Black critique. Okay. And then the last one, leaders who quote Dr. King, but silence the living activists. They silence you, but will quote Dr. King.
Yeah, they all feel the same, but I'd say the last one.
Okay, perfect. Here we go.
Yeah.
Whitewash curriculum, white savior mentality, or white fragility.
White savior mentality.
She said what she said. Here we go. Districts chasing optics instead of outcomes. Equity leaders spending more time convincing adults than serving kids, or schools confusing representation with transformation?
Representation over
Over
transportation.
transformation.
Transformation, yes.
Boom, boom, boom. All right, we got 3 more.
Okay.
Being expected to serve as the resident expert on race in your school. Oh, come tell us what Black people think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Navigating microaggressions and coded language from colleagues. That's an everyday, all day thing
Yeah.
in Ohio. Or carrying the emotional labor of protecting students of color from systemic harm.
Microaggressions.
Boom. You want to tell us why on that one?
Yeah, because when it comes down to it, if the educators can leave me alone, if I can that can not be the case. If I'm clear to think, then I can better support my students. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I can better navigate my students. And also when I'm not experiencing microaggressions, then that means that I'm better able to take care of my own child, my
Hello.
spouse, my other community as well.
Yeah.
Right. And if I can move and shift with clear thought and clear mind, again, then I can navigate my children, my students out of
Yes.
those situations. I can tell their families, I can tell their communities, I can have some bravery about myself to get my kids out of that situation.
Absolutely. And it makes me think about, sometimes people underestimate the accumulation of those small, like,
Yes,
posts,
that's exactly right.
right? And it's like, if you ever, what is that proverb? If you ever wonder about the power of something small, think about a mosquito. Like that one thing
Yeah.
that keeps like chipping at you. And so I get it. I totally rock with you.
Yeah.
Microaggression. We're chucking
And
it.
it's also the mask on myself before the mask on the students and the
Hello.
airplane. The airplane's still going down. I
Hello.
have to put my mask on myself to be able
Yes.
to get to
To
supporting
give.
the students. Yes.
Beautiful. And last one to chuck up the deuces. Being praised for resilience instead of given relief. Being asked to fix systems that we didn't break. Or being expected to stay for the kids even when the environment is toxic.
That last one.
Oh, no hesitation. Tell us
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
Well, because again, the education systems cycle through so quickly. And we as Black folks pick up that rhetoric too, staying for the kids. Like there could be a school full of Black people, no white folks around, and we gotta do this for the kids. We gotta do this for the kids. And that makes sense that we have, like, the children need us, but we need us first.
Yes.
And this also says that we have to remember too that in education, sometimes when you leave, you're providing a space for someone else that can carry the task on, that can continue to support students.
Absolutely.
Right? We assume that if we're not there, no one's going to ever replace us, and we're the best thing that the kids have ever seen. Well, you weren't always teaching here.
Yeah.
Somebody was here before you that could have been excellent, but went on. And so you have to accept when it's your time to go for whatever reason that is.
Yes. And remove ego and remove guilt.
That part, the ego and the guilt. Yeah.
Yes. All right. And so in the honor of you being the first Black female potter on this platform, I would like to ask you this question selfishly. Like, when you think about the roster of your pod guests on the exit interview, what are some of the most poignant responses or reflections that still stay with you till this day that either affirm your testimony or your why for exiting, or really just get to the heart of teaching while Black?
There's so many. I mean, we're like 75 episodes.
The exit.
Listen,
75 episodes. That's a bad. That's a bad.
So I'll say I just recorded an episode yesterday with Dr. Janine Williams, and it will come out probably in January. But she said something yesterday. She said so many things. But I think I have my notes right here from her episode, and there was 2 things that she said. She said, I got sick of begging to matter. I got sick of begging to matter. I was like, yes. And the second thing was, community care is going to save us. Like, those 2 things are the theme of all of the episodes, right?
Yeah.
People are on my podcast because they got tired of begging to be seen as human.
Yes.
People are on the podcast because they believe in community care and community voice. So with those 2 quotes, and now my bird's going on and on.
Yes, come
that's
on,
what he
bird.
does.
Chime in.
Mr. Charming is excited. Yeah, but she was also in higher education her whole career. And so it's not necessarily that particular podcast, but that she was able to speak to everything that
Every single
everyone had been saying. Yeah.
And it makes me think of shout out to Bell Hooks, one of our forever vibes,
Yeah.
literally and otherwise. She said, what did she say? Healing almost often never happens in isolation. It's always in communion.
Period. Yes.
Right? And so if it's about this community care, like that's the biggest thing that we can do to help not only Black educators thrive, but retain us or support us even in our exit without the
Yeah.
guilt of why we left, right? Absolutely, absolutely. And so I just want to also say to you, you know, it's been such a beautiful thing to be together apart with you in this experience. Because again, I follow her on IG, y'all. I sent her a DM like I send many of the podcasts who don't know me from campaign. And I'm like, hey, I'm Yaa Yaa with this platform. I love what you do. Would you hop on? And you just responded to the call and are here just doing dope work that I'm so excited to be even virtually connected to. And so speak to us a little bit, because this might be one of my favorite of the 6, 7 things you do. This melanated book exchange. First of all, how do we get books to you? I know I'm all the way in New York, but I would love to donate some books. Tell us about it. It's your newest passion, I'm sure.
Yeah.
How can we be connected and supported?
Yeah, so the Melanated Book Exchange is a collaborative like program that my friend Bertha and RVN and myself have come together. It was RVN's idea. We just like 2 weeks ago we were drinking coffee and RVN said all the book swap that she saw online here in Denver are like all white women, and we need something for us. She just said it, and I was like, let's do it.
Done.
And so yeah, and so what we are deciding to do is the Melanated Book Exchange, where folks, brown folks, folks of color, Black folks are coming together just to swap books, right? So we have a space, and it's in February. We're having a space, and we'll have people donate, because we need like a kind of like a first round of books, because you don't want to be the first one to exchange with nothing to exchange. That's whack, right? So like we're just trying to collect books for and by Black folks and folks of color to have in the space, so that people can swap and have conversation about books they've read or they want to read. And so the admission is right now, it's just a book. If you want to donate money, that's totally fine. But you come in with a book and you can leave out with 2 books.
Amazing.
And
So
yeah,
leave
and
one, take 2.
that's it. And so, you know, books are heavy to ship. So I have no idea. Like people want to, we can thought partner about that. But I'd love for people to have a conversation about how to get books here. If I feel like we might your neighborhood, your area, we can probably like pick them up. But that's the work is getting some books for the initial drive.
Well,
The
listen,
initial drive.
you about to get a package, because to me it's the opportunity cost. Yeah, the shipping might be heavy, but what's heavier is if we don't engage in community and support you. So we're gonna be shipping some books, and even if I have to do it in 3 increments because I can't afford to be over $20, we're gonna get you some books. We have till February, so look for that definitely in the mail. No cap, it's definitely gonna happen.
Thank you. I
All right.
appreciate
And so,
that.
of course, anything to be in community. And again, you know, part of our book Museum, we trademark the term. Part of it is really not just the blending of a bookstore and a museum, but this idea that through literature, books can heal. They can bridge connections, be conversation starters, and way to for folks to connect. Like just now, you and I, before this, we don't know each other. We talk about bell hooks teaching to transgress, and boom, it's like, all right, she might check some boxes about being a real one. Like it's a way to accelerate connection. So we will be sending you some books.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So our last micro segment, and then we'll free flow. They say, you say. So we know what it is to be in those spaces and mute ourselves, right? Or have to go through the filter of not sharing our first thought, lest we be deemed insubordinate or that person. And so this is your chance. Expletives allowed, because this channel is for grown folk.
Amen.
I'm gonna say something to you, and you say the first thing that comes to mind, and you just let it rip.
Okay.
All right, you ready? First one. They say angry Black woman. You say angry Black woman. You say
no, the fuck I'm not.
Yes.
Or so the fuck what?
Pick your fuck, because it's easy. Okay. All right. Just pick your fuck. All right. Here's the next one, because I heard you say this, and this is something that comes up in a lot of the spaces I've been in professionally. They say you can't or you shouldn't be teaching social justice to 6th graders. That's not even developmentally appropriate. You say,
watch me.
Oh, And not watch me nay. Watch me do this because there's
Yeah,
a way to
yeah.
even teach the enslavement period to kindergartners and do it in a very conscious and empowering way. All right, so here's the next one. They say, in the spirit of your pod, Black educators, they're just being emotional and can't handle it. That's why they leave. You say,
That's exactly why your people leave.
chisel. Okay.
Not
They say,
chisel.
they say you can't rest. There's too much work to do. Our ancestors worked too hard. We got to press. You say,
That's what they want you to believe so that you burn yourself up.
hello, hiyo. They say equity work is just diversity training with a new name. It really is nothing new. You say,
Yeah, diversifying our workforce is nothing new. That we're also not doing shit about any of this. So we need to make sure that we step back and not just do the diversity work that focuses on white folks because they don't listen. So how do we make sure that our folks of color are well? Right?
not to zoom into my 5 head.
Yeah, because they not listening. We spend a lot of money on white folks and buying copies of books that they don't read, but spend no money on making sure that our people are well. Full stop.
Full stop. That should have been the last one. Damn it. All right, 2 more. They say if we just hire more Black teachers, our school will be equitable. Let's just bring in more people of color. You say,
Yeah, that's not exactly how it works. And I also say all skin folk ain't kinfolk, right? And we don't need a single white person in a school for white supremacy to survive. There's lots of all Black schools out here that still uphold white supremacy all over, period. That is not the cure.
Dr. Lyons ain't lying. She ain't lying. All right. You have heard that corny joke 1,000 times. And here's the last. They say it's not personal. It's just policy. Like, it's not me. It's the policy. You say,
the policy is always personal.
I'm going to clean my glasses, eat my fiber, and stay hydrated. And
there
so
you go.
One more self-care tip for the person who makes that raggedy ass comment that we just said. A self-care tip coming straight from Dr. Lyons. Follow her on IG at Dr. Asia. Hello, Dr. Asia. Mind your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another self-care tip. That comes straight
from no, business. Mind your business. Yeah, don't worry about
business
you.
With a B-I-Z, as in biz market.
Yeah.
Looking at you like mind your business. Yes. And so we want to close with one of your Black teacher diary quotes coming from a guest that you mentioned that you've been collaborating with, Arian, on your pod, that I think she said that the healing comes in sharing your story, right?
Yeah.
So we are supremely grateful and thankful to you for coming on our humble platform and holding space for your story, for your exit interview experience that is now inspiring and encouraging our people to give voice to their why, and more importantly, to get on that journey to full, holistic, authentic wellness. And so you've poured into me from afar. You're pouring into me not only from my wellness, but from my opportunity to give back and stay connected to real ones. But I'll give you the final word as our beautiful guest. Any closing words?
Y'all gotta take care of yourselves. Them school systems, them folks will be there and they'll continue to do what they do. And you can't control any of it, right? If you can be replaced by your job, but you cannot be replaced as a mother, as an aunt, as a sister, as a brother, as a community member, right? And you don't have to teach children only in a school building. Get creative. Support your children all the places that you see them. Be creative about your liberation.
Hello. And stop looking to the system that was designed to oppress us to support you and liberate you.
Period.
So forget that, because that's an oxymoron right there.
Yeah.
And so there you have it, y'all. Episode 14, bringing its own flavor and sauce thanks to Dr. Asia. Stay hydrated, eat fiber, mind your business, and not necessarily in that order.
Yeah.
For tuning in to Untenured. And as we say, speaking your truth can never go left because it's your right. Stay blessed.
Peace.